At Girls Inc., it is our goal to inspire all girls to be strong, smart, and bold. It is my great honor to introduce to you a woman who is each of these and more, First Lady Michelle Obama.
Thank you. Thank you. I am honored to be here. And I'd really be happy to use these teleprompters if they were higher. But they're very low, so I'm going to read from my notes. I am just honored to be here today, and I want to thank you for having me. I really feel like I am with my people. Good thing. And thank you, Laura, for that wonderful introduction and for your outstanding work that you're doing to teach and mentor and inspire our young people. Let's give Laura a round of applause. I'd also like to thank our great governor of the state, Governor Schwarzenegger, as well as Speaker Pelosi for their outstanding leadership on this issue. And I have to thank my dear friend, California's First Lady, Maria Shriver. Maria is an example of how service can really transform lives, and she and I had a terrific time today out there at the Bret Harte School building a play lot. I think I was better with the tools, but she did a good job. Maria, you were an amazing woman. And I'd also like to recognize Karen Baker, California's Secretary of Service and Volunteering in the California Volunteer Office, for her efforts to promote service in this state. Round of applause for Karen. And I'd have to thank Michelle Nunn and Neil Bush from the Points of Light and Hands-On Network for co-sponsoring this conference and doing everything to make this such a wonderful event. And a warm thank you to my dear friend Alan Solomont, who's the chairman of the Corporation for National Service, and to the many members of the board of directors, many of whom are here, and the CEO, Nikki Gorin, and the terrific staff. With just 600 employees, the corporation operates with just 600 employees. This agency supports thousands of groups that engage millions of volunteers who change the lives of countless people every day. And we're so proud of their outstanding work, and we have to give them a round of applause as well. And finally, the last thank you goes to every single one of you here. That's a lot of you all here, too. That's a good thing. You all aren't just service providers. You're service leaders. You're the pioneers. You're the movers and the shakers. And you've done everything in your power to make giving back cool again, and that's a good thing. You have helped to make service once again a nationwide movement. And it's been said that our true calling in life is where our heart's greatest gladness meets the world's deepest need. And all of you here today have found that place. And I want to thank you for everything that you give and everything that you do. You are an inspiration to me and to all the folks in this nation who were looking on today's conference. You know that what you do every day isn't easy. Even in good times, it's not easy. And in times like these, when we're facing challenges unlike any in our lifetime, and you all know this better than anyone. I know it can feel close to impossible. When our economy falters, you're the ones who have to deal with the fallout. More folks needing those food pantries more than ever, more families needing help to stay in their homes and to pay their bills, cities and states cutting services and leaving so many people with nowhere to turn. And just as more people desperately need your help, you've got fewer resources at your disposal. So you're making do with less staff and working longer hours and stretching every dollar even further. So you know better than anyone at this time how badly we need change right now. And I know better than anyone here just how hard our president is working to make that change. We have a president who wants to help us break out of those old habits that got us into this mess and build a new foundation for our economy, making investments in education, healthcare, clean energy that will create jobs and preserve our planet and give our kids every opportunity to fulfill their dreams. And we're beginning to see some progress. We're starting to see some glimmers of hope, a little light at the end of the tunnel. But at the end of the day, there's only so much that government can do. Washington cannot do everything. Government can't be everything to everybody. It can't be every place at once. That's why we need active and engaged citizens like all of you to step up and do their part during these times. You see, our government might be able to rebuild some schools, but it's people that we need to serve as the mentors and tutors in those schools. It's people that we need to serve on the PTA and to chaperone kids on those field trips. Government can modernize our healthcare system, but it's people who we need to volunteer to help care for the sick and help people lead healthier lives. Our government can invest in clean energy, but it's people that we need to use that energy more efficiently to keep our public spaces clean and train for the green jobs of the future. This, more than anything, is the key point that I want to make today, and that is this new Obama administration doesn't view service as something separate from our national priorities or just something in addition to our national priorities. We have an administration that understands that service is the key to achieving our national priorities. This administration believes that the only way to build that new foundation for our economy is to establish a new role for service in this country. Far too long, we viewed service in our communities as largely separate from our policies in government. There's a sense that service is helpful, but not necessarily essential. That is something that folks should do maybe on occasion, particularly around the holidays. Maybe you do something, you do it to fulfill a requirement, or maybe just to fulfill yourself. But we come to believe that the real work of moving this nation forward somehow is done elsewhere, in committee rooms and boardrooms, in marble hallways and in West Wing offices. We've come to believe that service is just something that's a little extra, the icing on the cake, but not actually part of the cake itself. And I've seen this way of thinking play out in my own life. As you know, I started my career in a big fancy law firm, working for big companies, making big money. And when I decided to leave all of that for public service, well, people thought I had lost my mind. My mother worried that I had taken her advice to follow my heart just a little too far. And my friends worried that I was throwing away a lucrative paycheck and a prestigious career all in one fell swoop. And my husband experienced the same thing when he decided after college that he wanted to be a community organizer working in struggling neighborhoods in Chicago. There was some And while all of you here understand the power of that vision, there were many who tried to convince him to go straight to law school instead. You've heard that. Go to law school. His friends all gave him a nice pat on the back before they went off to mail their admissions office applications to graduate school. And while everybody thought that our hearts were in the right place, a lot of people wondered whether our heads were on straight. And many of you probably heard these same voices in your own lives, right? The voices that tell you, well, that's awfully nice that you want to do good, but when are you going to get a real job? Or maybe you've heard, if you don't get paid a lot of money for what you do, then maybe what you do isn't that valuable. Or maybe you've heard, if you really want to make a difference and change the world, you need to do something with more prestige, something more powerful, more important. But what these folks don't understand is that the story of progress in this nation has always been the story of people who chose in times of trial and struggle to serve it. The founders who set forth the ideals that have animated our democracy for more than 2 centuries. The soldiers who fought and died for those ideals. The abolitionists and suffragists and people who marched and stood up and sat in to ensure the ideals of this nation would endure. The ordinary folks who've reached out to the least among us, providing a measure of dignity to people who have little else. What they've done for this country isn't extra. It's not something on the side. It's not just a little icing. It's what ensured our existence as a nation. It's ensured the basic rights of our citizens. It's ensured the well-being of our children. Our history is a long testament to the fundamental truth that real change, as we've heard from someone else, doesn't come from the top down from Washington, but it comes from where? The bottom up. From citizens working and mobilizing and serving the nation that they love. That's how real change happens. And today, at this defining moment, this administration doesn't just see service as something that transforms just individual lives or even just individual communities. This is an administration who knows that service has the power to transform this nation. It truly does. So the question becomes, now how do we mobilize that force? How do we mobilize that energy? How do we connect people with opportunities? How do we connect needs with deeds? And we know that many folks are eager to give back. We've seen it. They're eager to be a part of this nation's recovery and renewal. You've seen it in the work that you do. People want to get involved. As hard examples, applications to AmeriCorps have quadrupled. In the Peace Corps, last year there were 3 applications for every available position. 35,000 young people applied for just 4,000 slots in Teach for America. And so many members of the baby boom generation are reaching retirement age, and they are ready and eager to find ways to keep contributing. People across this country are ready to answer the call to serve. We just need to issue that call and provide them with these opportunities that are meaningful. That's why the President has urged people to serve. Particularly on Martin Luther King Day, he made the call, and as a result, we saw the largest turnout in history on that day. That's why this administration is creating a community solutions fund to nurture the best, most innovative nonprofits out there, to support the next generation of Jeff Canadas and Wendy Copps and Dorothy Stonemans, and to replicate efforts like theirs all across America. That's why the President signed historic national service legislation, the Edward M. Kennedy Service America Act, expanding Senior Corps, AmeriCorps, Learn and Serve, and other initiatives to usher in a new era of service. That's why this president called for funding for 13,000 additional AmeriCorps members in the Recovery Act and requested a 29% budget increase for the Corporation for National Community Service for next year. This is the first step to increasing AmeriCorps to 250,000 volunteers. President Obama has done all this because he knows this investment will have returns many times over in the goodwill it will do for our communities. And that's why today we are proud to officially launch United We Serve. It's a nationwide effort, and we're calling on all Americans to make service not just something they do in their spare time, but a part of their daily lives. And when we say all, we really mean all. The young, the old, everyone from every background, all across this country. We're asking individuals, corporations, community organizations, foundations, government to be a part of this effort and work together, just like all of you are doing here at this conference and in the work that you do. United We Serve will be led by the Corporation for National and Community Service, and it's going to focus on 4 core parts of the recovery agenda: health care, energy independence, education, and community and economic renewal. Everything from organizing carpools and bike-to-work programs to reading to children and registering folks for library cards, or organizing community health drives and working with senior centers to promote exercise, to collecting and delivering food for families in need. You name it, it's a part of this call. The idea here is simple. We want to make it as easy as possible for folks to start serving and do everything we can to make sure that they stay involved. So over the past few months, we've been reaching out to hundreds of nonprofit and community groups all across this country. Some of you have answered that call already, and we've asked them to start posting volunteer opportunities at serve.gov. We've also reached out to ordinary folks involved in service projects in their own communities and asking them to take those projects and list them on serve.gov as well. And we've asked folks to step up and become service leaders themselves, to identify unmet needs in their own communities. You don't need an organizing effort. You don't need to be a local elected official to see what's needed right on the ground, to figure out ways that they can address those issues and post those ideas on serve.gov so that others can join them. It's like the comedian Lily Tomlin once said. She said, "I always wondered why somebody didn't do something about that. And then I realized I was somebody." And that's really exactly the point. This call, through it, we want to make sure that everybody realizes that when it comes to serving their communities, they are the somebodies that they're looking for. You don't have to go so far. And serve.gov is also a tool that will offer people everything they need to get their projects started. It provides tools to help them set outcome-oriented goals. You all know about that. Yeah, I went through it. And to track the impact that they're having. You've got to have that impact, right? And it allows them to connect with others in their area who want to organize around the same issue and to share stories and best practices. And today, I and several members of the President's Cabinet, we fanned out across this country participating in service projects ourselves. And we're asking people to go to serve.gov to search for projects in their area and sign up and pitch in. Even if you only have a few hours, you all know it doesn't take much. You don't have to be the overachiever on this, right? A few hours a day, a few hours a week can really make a difference. You don't need any special skills or talents or experience. You just need to show up and do your part. And the first phase of United We Serve is going to run from the summer through September 11th, which will be the National Day of Service and Remembrance. And while that day will be the culmination of this effort, it's by no means the conclusion. It's just the opposite, actually. On that day, we're going to honor those whose lives were lost 8 years ago, and in their memory, we'll renew our commitment to keep serving and to make service a habit of citizenship. So in a way, this summer is really just a preview of what's to come. The first step in our work to create a new era of civic engagement all across this nation. And already we're seeing people from all different sectors answering the call to carry this forward. And today I'm also pleased to announce one outstanding example of that. An initiative created by the Entertainment Industry Foundation, an organization that harnesses the power of Hollywood to raise awareness of and money for pressing social causes. This foundation has enlisted the 4 major networks, ABC, CBS, Fox, and NBC, to take part in a week-long television event in support of national service. It's going to be a great thing. This is really exciting. During the week of October 19th, these and other networks are going to include service themes and plots in our favorite TV programs, showing the celebrities that we love getting involved to serve their community. Isn't that cool? The idea is to emphasize for viewers across the country that service is part of who we are as Americans, and to highlight the power of service to make a difference in people's lives. And we need to give the foundation a round of applause for this effort. It's going to make a big deal. Ultimately, efforts like these and like United We Serve won't just help us build that new foundation for our economy. These efforts won't just make a difference in our communities and in the lives of the people we serve. They will also make a difference in the lives of those who perform that service. And this, you know, they'll give people a chance to experience the pride that comes with giving back and the inspiration that comes from being a part of something bigger than themselves. Like Kate Amana, who worked at the Red Cross in New York, helping families affected by 9/11. She had that experience. She said that her service, and this is her quote, taught me that each day is a new beginning, and with each new beginning is a chance to make this world a safer and happier place. And then there's Jason Best, an AmeriCorps volunteer in Denver, who also had the experience. He wrote a poem about serving that I'd like to read a bit from. He said, "I've taught beautiful, forgotten children how to read. I've loved those who weren't cared for and watched people who were considered broken perform miracles. I carried those who could not walk, and they taught me how to stand." You all know exactly what these folks are talking about, right? And that's why we're here today. That's why you do what you do every single day. And I hope that during your 3 days at this conference, that you actually have a little fun. Surprising. But take this time to recharge your batteries and to get re-inspired. Look around you. There are thousands of people here who share the same belief system as you. Make some time to meet some new folks, make some new friends, because we're going to need all the energy that you have to get this job done. We all know that our challenges are great and that we have a long way to go and a hard road ahead of us. But standing here today, looking over this room and just seeing all of you and feeling your energy, people who love this country and have devoted your lives to helping people share in this promise, I feel nothing but hope for the future. Thank you so much, and God bless you, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you so much. Enjoy.